This one's all about training your eyes, so stay tuned. This week we're going to be using these simple shapes to learn how to draw. Whoa! That's not as scary as it sounds. I'll walk you through the steps. So let's get going.
In episode 1, we learned to draw 2D shapes. In episode 2, we'll take those 2D shapes and build 3D shapes out of them.
This is a still life. For generations, it has been the fastest way for artists to level up their skill. Hey, wait a minute. How am I supposed to level up my skill by drawing that simple stuff?
Just hold on to your top hat and I'll tell you. Here's a curious sight. You ever seen an artist holding their pencil or their paintbrush like this? Wonder what they're doing? Well, they're using their pencil to measure and gauge the proportions and relationships of everything that they're seeing. First, as displayed by this yellow line here, they imagine what's called the plumb line. Although this plumb line is completely vertical, yours doesn't have to be. It just has to be as close as you can get it. Because every angle and every measurement is going to be based off of this. So let's get started with some empty space. We're going to need some shapes. Yeah, maybe a couple more. That's what I'm talking about. And now that we have our shapes, I'm going to teach you how to use the measurement techniques.
Now that you've got your pencil poised properly, look down your line of sight at your still life. Take note of the highest and lowest parts. Try and see the center of the picture. Note where the shapes sit along that center line. Find what you think are the highest and lowest shapes in the composition. Then start out with the height and width of the shapes. Also note where those shapes sit on that center line. Find out what you think are the highest and lowest shapes in the composition. Now start getting the width and height of each of the shapes. What we're doing here is we're building a relationship grid in our minds of these objects and their angles and distances from one another. We learn to see the objects together as a whole and are better able to draw them true to reality. Why do I need to learn to draw reality, you ask? Because even if all you want to draw is ultra-stylized, fantastical drawings, you will still benefit from a strong foundation based in the form and physics of reality. Get good at the simple things, and you can move on to more complicated shapes like a human face.
Okay, but what do I make mine look like?
I hear you say. Well, it doesn't really matter. As long as you can take it from this to this, you're golden. It can look like this, or any number of ways. As long as you keep using more complex objects so you can move up to stuff like this.
Well, that was fun. And it wasn't very difficult, was it? So, let's recap. This episode, we learned that we can take 2D shapes and make 3D shapes out of them. We learned that we discovered the measuring technique that can take our skill to the next level using a still life. We learned to draw it once and then draw it once again. And now that we've had our lesson, it's time for the side quest. So for this episode's side quest, your mission is to gather together some items to make yourself a still life. For the beginner, simplest is best. For the more seasoned adventurers, you can adjust it to your own skill level. And below are some very helpful sites for leveling up your skill. I use these myself all the time, and they will be very helpful for you whatever level you're on. And there are also links to our Twitter, our Discord. We can talk art on both of those and take prayer requests, as well as the link to my Artstation if you want to follow me there. Don't forget to stomp that subscribe button and give that notification bell a jingle so you don't miss out on the next episode. We'll see you adventurers later. Let's see if we can one take this. Adventures in Art, Episode 2, Scene Last, Take Pickle!